The last quarter moon in Cancer isn't just stirring surface emotions. It's opening a portal of deep purification, one that only those spiritually prepared can cross without carrying the weight of the past. If you've been feeling unexplained sadness, old pains resurfacing, or memories appearing out of nowhere, this is not a coincidence. It's the calling. And if you ignore this sign, you might carry emotional baggage into the next cycle that will block your divine mission. Chosen one, you know you're not like the others. You feel more deeply, you see what others don't, and you carry wounds no one understands. Dove, that's why today, October 13th, you're being called to forgive, not out of weakness, but for liberation. In this video, I'll reveal to you why this moon phase is spiritually dangerous for those who ignore their emotions, what God wants you to cleanse before the next cosmic alignment, and the sacred ritual that can break the final ties to what still holds you in the past. Stay with me until the end, because today's final message is a turning point. You're being called to begin again, clean, light, and free. You say you're ready to love again, but your heart still carries the ruins of the past. There are wounds you no longer speak of, but they still echo inside. Memories of betrayal, loss, or unmet expectations weigh on your soul like invisible chains. The waning quarter moon in Cancer comes like a sacred whisper. Before you welcome someone new, you must cleanse what still lingers. The emotional home within you deserves healing. Love is not born from the ruins. It blooms from restored soil. Cancer energy calls you to a ritual of release. Gentle, but deeply transformative. You don't need to rush or pretend you're fine. You need honesty, softness, and space to feel. It's okay to grieve the version of you that loved and was hurt. It's okay to sit with your own heart and say, I forgive you for carrying this pain so long. The new love you're asking the universe for cannot enter a room already crowded with past ghosts. It requires your full presence, whole and softened. This moon phase is a sacred invitation to spiritual hygiene. Write that letter you never sent. Cry that tear you swallowed. Burn what needs to be burned, metaphorically or literally. When you release, you're not betraying the past. You're honoring your future. A clean emotional altar is the most powerful magnet for soul-aligned love. Let Cancer's waters wash away what no longer serves your journey. Your next chapter begins with a closing ritual, not with someone else, but with yourself. Before a new soul arrives, the one within you must be seen and embraced. This is not weakness. This is emotional mastery, and only the awakened know how to do it with grace. Today, forgive. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to feel light again. Let love re-enter not through the door of hope, but through the gate of healing. You dream of a new love, yet you're still emotionally anchored to an old story. That relationship may have ended, but the energy still lingers in memories, in habits, in fears you carry without realizing. The waning moon in Cancer is not here to shame you, but to guide you back to your heart. There's no shame in grieving what once was, but there is power in deciding it no longer defines you. Forgiveness is your first act of freedom. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is energetic liberation. You don't need to go back and justify every scar. You don't have to understand why they hurt you. You only need to release your grip on the pain that's been living rent-free in your chest. This Cancer moon whispers, let go, my love, so you can rise. The heart was not built to be a prison. It was built to be a temple, and temples need cleansing. Ask yourself honestly, what part of the past are you still trying to rewrite? Sometimes we hold on not out of love, but because we still want answers, closure, justice. But this spiritual path isn't always about getting what's fair. It's about choosing what's sacred. You are no longer the person who was abandoned, betrayed, or overlooked. You are the one who is choosing to be reborn. That alone changes everything. Tonight, let the water element of Cancer carry your sorrow back to source. Cry if you need to. Burn a letter. Take a salt bath. Whisper a goodbye to the version of you who kept waiting. That act of ritual is not small, it is cosmic. It tells the universe, I am ready to begin again, and this time I am whole. Your new love is not in the future. It is born the moment your soul feels safe again, inside your own chest. Some people say they are ready to love again, but they are still emotionally entangled in old wounds. Memories of betrayal, disappointment, or unresolved endings quietly shape their current choices. Under the waning moon in Cancer, the invitation is clear: cleanse your inner world. There is no space for new love where emotional clutter still lingers. You are being asked to let go of the story that hurt you, not to forget, but to free. Only with an open heart can you truly welcome what's meant for you. Forgiveness is not the same as forgetting. Many believe that if time passed, the pain healed, but silence does not mean peace. Forgiveness is an intentional act of release, a spiritual step forward. It is choosing to unhook your soul from what no longer serves its growth. During this lunar cycle, you are reminded that healing isn't about erasing the past, but accepting it with compassion. When you forgive, you create space, not just in your heart, but in your future. You might say you're fine, but inside, uncried tears still live. Cancer energy rules the emotional tides, the hidden oceans within you. Pretending you're unaffected only deepens the gap between your truth and your healing. This is a time to express, not suppress. Cry, journal, scream if you must, but don't let unspoken pain build a wall around your capacity to love. To feel is to be alive, and your softness is not weakness, it's your medicine. You are not what happened to you. You are not the heartbreak, the betrayal, or the silence you received. You are the soul that survived it, the heart still willing to try again. The waning moon in Cancer is a portal of emotional rebirth. It's time to release the past, not because it didn't matter, but because you matter more. Begin again, this time lighter, freer, more whole. Love isn't behind you. It's waiting for the version of you that finally let go. You may believe that forgetting is the same as healing, but it's not. Just because you've stopped talking about the pain doesn't mean it no longer lives in your heart. The waning moon in Cancer brings a sacred moment of truth. True forgiveness is conscious, not passive. It's not about pretending it didn't hurt. It's about honoring the wound enough to finally release it. Healing doesn't ask you to deny the past, only to stop letting it define your future. This is your time to clear space inside. Many spiritually awakened souls confuse letting go with pushing away. They store their heartbreaks in silence, hoping time will erase what still echoes. But divine healing requires presence. This lunar phase teaches that to forgive is to choose freedom, not to excuse what happened, but to stop carrying it like a shadow on your back. Your soul deserves the peace that only emotional clarity can offer. You say you've moved on, but do you still judge them in your thoughts? Do you replay the scene when you're alone, questioning your worth? These inner loops drain your energy, keeping your spirit anchored to the past. Cancer's energy invites softness, not as weakness, but as strength. Forgiveness is a sacred ritual, not a checkbox. It's the slow unwinding of pain until you can breathe again, lighter, softer, finally free. What if the person you need to forgive is yourself? For trusting too much, staying too long, or loving someone who couldn't meet you? This moon doesn't ask you to forget who you were, only to bless that version of you with compassion. The path of the awakened heart is not about perfection, it's about presence. Let your forgiveness begin there, with grace, with intention, with the quiet courage to feel and release. You may have convinced yourself that you've moved on, but your soul knows the truth. The tears you swallow, the memories you avoid, and the names you no longer say, they still live quietly inside you. The waning moon in Cancer doesn't just bring closure, it brings sacred release. This is not the time to suppress emotion. It's a time to cleanse it, to finally say, I felt it all, and I choose to let it go. Forgiveness isn't just a decision, it's a ritual of liberation. It starts in silence, maybe through prayer or writing, or simply breathing through the ache. You don't need an apology to be free. You don't need the past to fix itself. What you need is permission, your own, to stop dragging yesterday into today. This moon is your permission slip to heal. Perhaps the one you keep judging is still yourself. For not seeing it coming. For breaking your own heart while trying to save theirs. But punishment won't bring peace. And shame never builds love. What if your softness is not a weakness, but the very path to wisdom? The moon in Cancer invites you to bless your vulnerability and finally make peace with your reflection. Let this moment be your turning point. Burn the letter. Cry the tears. Speak the truth you've silenced. You are not your heartbreak. You are not your history. You are the one who survived, the one now ready to love again. Not because you've forgotten, but because you've forgiven. This is the spiritual rebirth your heart has been asking for. And now it's here. You say you're fine, but deep inside, your heart still aches. You smile, you move on, you distract yourself, yet some tears remain trapped in silence. The waning quarter moon in Cancer doesn't ask you to pretend. It asks you to feel. This lunar phase invites you to open the inner door you've kept shut for too long. Healing begins not when you hide the pain, but when you let it breathe. Cancer rules the emotional body, and emotions denied don't disappear. They just harden. How many times have you said it's okay when it wasn't? How many nights have you carried sorrow alone, trying not to appear weak? But you were never weak. You were surviving. Now, this moon gives you space to feel without fear, to honor the truth you've been carrying so quietly. There is power in tears. They are holy water for the soul. This is the moment to sit with your story, to remember what you endured, and to choose not to carry it anymore. You can break down and still be strong. You can let it hurt and still rise. What matters is not the pain itself, but what you do with it. And this moon says, release is the real miracle. So breathe, cry, speak. Don't hold yourself together just to please the world. The ritual now is about letting go of old fears, fake smiles, and wounds wrapped in silence. Your emotional freedom is on the other side of vulnerability. And you, beautiful soul, are finally ready to walk through that sacred door. This is not the end of your story. It's the healing chapter you've been waiting to write. You've become an expert at pretending. You laugh at jokes, show up for work, post happy moments, but your heart still holds old wounds. This moon in Cancer asks, what pain have you silenced just to keep functioning? Sometimes, we don't heal because we've convinced ourselves that survival equals healing. But surviving is not the same as releasing. And this is your sacred moment to stop suppressing and start expressing. There are tears you never cried, words you never said, goodbyes you never gave. You thought bottling it all up would protect you, but now it's weighing you down. The waning moon wants to cleanse you, not by force, but by offering a safe space to feel it all. What if you allowed yourself the grace to break open and be held by your own compassion? Healing isn't always a loud transformation. Sometimes it's a quiet exhale in the middle of the night, a journal entry soaked in emotion, a walk where you whisper truths you've never said aloud. This is the emotional detox your soul has been asking for. Cancer is the sign of the sacred home, and your body is your home. Treat your emotions like honored guests, not intruders. Today is not about moving on. It's about moving through the grief, through the longing, through the unspoken ache that still visits you in dreams. Let the moon illuminate what you've buried. You are not broken, just layered in stories that deserve to be released. Let them go. The lightness you seek begins the moment you finally stop pretending you're okay. You say you're over it, that it's in the past, that you've moved on. But deep down, you still carry a silent sadness that you never gave permission to speak. Cancer energy reveals what was hidden, and this moon invites you to hold space for what you never said. Maybe you weren't allowed to express the pain. Maybe you didn't feel safe. But now, your soul is asking for truth, not for anyone else, but for you. Let go of the mask that says, I'm fine. That mask is heavy, and it's keeping you from the emotional freedom you crave. When you swallow your tears, you bury your power. And when you bury your power, you disconnect from your heart. This lunar cycle is sacred. It asks you to be real with your emotions, not dramatic, not performative, just honest. Let what hurts be seen. Healing is an act of courage, not because it's loud, but because it's raw. Crying for what was, grieving who you were, forgiving what never made sense. This is spiritual maturity, and it's the doorway to love that doesn't hurt. Cancer reminds us that even the strongest warriors need time to feel. You're allowed to be strong and soft, to be awake and still wounded. That's how you heal. Tonight, don't run from your feelings. Sit with them like old friends. Ask them what they need, and then let them go. Burn a letter. Speak a prayer. Place your hand on your chest and say, I forgive you. Your heart doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be present. And when you choose to feel instead of flee, you return to the sacred home within, whole, clean, and ready for love again. You've been through heartbreak before. Words left unsaid, wounds left open, love that turned cold too fast. And maybe you told yourself to toughen up, to bury the emotion, to protect yourself by building walls. But now, the moon in Cancer returns to remind you, your softness is not your weakness. What you once lost does not define what you're worthy of now. The time has come to rebuild from a different place, from truth. You're not broken, you were just learning. Every mistake, every misstep was a part of your awakening. But true healing isn't pretending nothing happened. It's acknowledging that it did and choosing not to carry the shame any longer. You've grown wiser. You feel deeper. And that means you can choose a new way to love, one that honors your intuition, not your fears. You're not here to repeat cycles. You're here to break them. This moon whispers, you can forgive without forgetting, and you can love again without losing yourself. That version of you who stayed too long, who gave too much, who tried to fix what didn't want healing. They were trying their best with what they knew. And now, you know more. You have emotional tools. You have divine discernment. And above all, you have a heart that still wants to believe, and that's sacred. So don't hold back your own redemption. Don't let the past own the story of your future. Let the tears fall if they need to. Let the silence speak where words once failed. You are not who you were, and love doesn't have to be what it once was. This time, it can feel safe. This time, it can begin with you. Clean heart, open soul, and the quiet knowing that healing is your home now. You are not your past. And yet, how often do you let it speak louder than your present? The pain you once endured may have shaped you, but it doesn't have to lead you. This waning Cancer moon opens a door, not just to healing, but to rewriting the emotional code you've lived by. You are allowed to feel everything, but you are also allowed to release it. That's not forgetting, that's freedom. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending they didn't hurt you. It means you no longer let the wound run your life. Many have mistaken silence for healing, but this moon teaches the power of truth. It's time to speak to yourself with compassion, to cradle your pain, not punish it. There's no healing through denial. Only when you see the scar can you choose to love it back into softness. There's a part of you that still longs to be held, not by someone else, but by your own presence. And today, you are strong enough to do that. Cry if you need. Write it down. Burn the old letters. Let the ashes carry your grief into the sky. Cancer energy is sacred in its tenderness, and this is your cosmic permission to begin again, not from fear, but from wholeness. So release the identity built on heartbreak. You are not the one who was left, or the one who always gets hurt. You are the one who survived, who stayed kind, who still believes in love, even if it broke you once. And now, the moon hands you the key to choose again, love again, live again, but this time from a clean heart. The ritual begins within. Every soul craves a new beginning, but few understand that to truly begin again in love, you must first release what still weighs down your heart. This waning moon in Cancer invites you into a sacred emotional ritual, not for someone else, but for your own rebirth. Love does not flourish in a cluttered garden. What you haven't forgiven still controls you. What you haven't released still speaks for you. A ritual of release isn't just a spiritual act, it's an act of personal power. Write down the names, the moments, the memories that ache. Let the tears come. Light a candle and let it be your witness. This is not about forgetting, but about transforming the energy. The love you seek is already on its way, but your heart must have space to receive it. Healing is how you prepare the ground. Maybe you thought healing required another apology or a perfect closure. But Cancer teaches, closure is something you create for yourself. You don't need their permission to be free. You only need your own willingness to let go. Speak your grief out loud. Feel your own forgiveness. You are not broken. You're in the middle of becoming whole again. Let this moon be your turning point. Let it mark the night you chose peace over pain, release over resistance. Love is not behind you. It's ahead of you, softer, deeper, and more real than what came before. But only if you choose to begin again, not with fear, but with faith. This isn't just a goodbye to the past. It's a whispered yes to everything your soul is ready to welcome.